What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's Drinks with the Band. My name is Chris Denman. It's We Are Live. That's my show. This is the show tonight, brought to you by our friends at Jack Daniels. Exciting guest tonight. We'll get to him in just a moment. Just a quick thank you to our friends at the Kranzberg Arts Foundation. Support them any way you possibly can. Wonderful foundation right here in St. Louis. Supports the arts, musicians, all kinds of great things. And of course, they're doing some open air shows right now. You need to go check those out. And real quick, follow us on Instagram at We Are Live Radio. Tonight's guest joining us live from Nashville. He's going to play some tunes. Maybe we'll give away a T-shirt of his. It's pretty nice design. Lee Tasjan, very excited to have you on. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm great, Chris. How are you doing, brother?
I'm doing really well. We've already done probably a better interview than I'd say 99% of podcasts that are out there pre-show. We're starting up a little different tonight. Aaron, I know you're an avid watcher of the show. Jack Daniels, our friends. E.T. generally starts the show off. We do a cocktail, and then E.T. tells some insane story because he reps Jack Daniels all over the world. And then we transition into music, all that. So we're flipping it tonight. E.T.'s going to join a little later. Aaron is going to play some tunes. We're all going to be hanging out. We've got Jack Daniels branded AirPods to give away. Aaron, do you think that's a good prize?
Sure.
Right. You're like, actually, I'd prefer more. I sometimes wonder, I'm like, nobody ever, I remember calling radio stations on end to hear a Rancid song when I was like that's it. Now I'm begging people with wireless earphones to just tune in, hit share. For the love of God, follow Aaron on Instagram. Let's show some support. So we've got a lot of really fun stuff on deck. Producer Matt, how are you? Are you here? Hello?
Oh, I'm here.
Hey, Matt's here. He's a nice fella. Matt is in charge of graphics. How about one of the coolest shirts we've had the pleasure of giving away tonight? Aaron's design. Can we show the people what we're able to give away if they play nice and hit share? They'll be entered to win.
Just a moment. I'm locating it for you.
Yep, down at the bottom there.
Cool.
I got you covid. Either way, Aaron Lee Tasjan. Nice. Oh, hey, look at that. There it is. If you hit share tonight, you're entered to win a T-shirt. I'm mystified by this design. Did you make this, or did you commission that?
My friend Curtis Wayne Millard from Mexico, Missouri, made that
Are you
T-shirt
kidding
design.
me?
I'm not kidding.
Why do you know somebody? I know 50 people from Mexico, Missouri. We're based in St. Louis, Missouri. Mexico kids go to Mizzou. First, they go to Moberly Junior College, and then they go to Mizzou. And I'm not knocking that. Guys, I have so many friends from Mexico, Missouri, and they're the nicest people, and I dig them. So shout out to Curtis. Where did you meet Curtis?
You know, Curtis and I met in New York City. I lived in New York for about 10 years before I moved to Nashville. And I used to play this bar all the time called 11th Street Bar. My friend Kenny was the bartender there. And
Kenny's a great dude.
You know, yeah. Oh, I don't think I ever paid for a drink on it. I can't believe they're still open. But
they might not be.
They might. Yeah. I know. God. Actually, I've seen they've been having some success kind of serving drinks on the sidewalk, outside in front of the bar there.
Yeah.
So I've been glad to see that they're still going, because man, a lot of the bars that I used to go to when I lived there in New York are gone. You know, they just don't exist anymore.
Naturally, or because of COVID?
Naturally, yeah.
Right. I like how naturally it's just the disgusting, horrific vertical that is restaurant ownership. It's ugh. Right. It's oh, you were open 2.5 years and now you're in debt for the rest of your life, but you got to do your dream. I feel it, man. I understand, every person who gets just above their head financially, they're time to open a bar. And it turns into well, my friends can eat drink free. And you're you won't stay open. It's tough. Yeah, it's a tough business, but you've worked your way through. So if you guys are just joining, my name's Chris Denman. This is Aaron Lee Tasjan. We're going to hang out. We're going to tell some stories. We're going to hear some songs. Very excited. I can't go a step further without her 900th shout out in a 16 episode season in which we're on episode 12. Shout out. She doesn't drink, but cheers to Katie Tupin. She made this happen, and Katie's been a big part of this. So we love Katie and support Katie any chance you get. She's playing a show in Louisville that is socially distanced that you guys should go check out if you happen to be watching in Kentucky. So let's jump right in, Aaron. I need to know more about New York City. I need to know more about Mexico, Missouri. I need to know more about where the hell you've grown up. What has brought you to this stream today? Give me some background, man. Like, you seem like a super interesting guy. Where'd you grow up? What's happening in that head of yours?
I was born in Wilmington, Delaware. First
Beautiful.
state to ratify the Constitution.
I was about to bring that up. It's my favorite part about Delaware.
My dad, worked at DuPont, and my mom worked at DuPont for a period of time as well. She was the first woman to ever manage a plant at DuPont.
Shout out to Mom.
Yeah,
that's great.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
She was a cool lady. She also trained to be a firefighter. She never became a firefighter, but she did the training just because she wanted to do it, I guess. I don't know.
That's awesome.
She's a cool lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I lived there until I was 11 years old. And then my family moved to Southern California, to Orange County, California.
Family there.
It's very specific, part of California, for sure.
It's to go from Delaware to, so I am regurgitating a bit. We talked a little bit, but my sister-in-law grew up in the city of Orange. My brother and sister-in-law, Dave and Vicky, shout out. They lived in the city of Orange, and it's the most wonderful place on the planet. Yeah, it's wonderful. Now, what part of Orange County were you in? Was it part of the skateboarding Orange County? Was it part of the surfer kid Orange County? Where were you at? Or was it part of the picket fence Orange County?
It was the picket fence Orange. I lived in a town called San Juan Capistrano.
That's great.
If you remember the movie Dumb and Dumber, they at one point Jim Carrey mentions the salmon of Capistrano. It's actually swallows, but they changed it for comedic effect. I don't know if you're.
I think they did an okay job.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie.
Right.
But so I lived there for as long as I could take it. I lived there for 2 years basically, and then my parents sent me to boarding school because it just wasn't working out at all.
Okay, where was boarding school?
That was in the San Jacinto mountain region of California. It's a town called Idlewild. It's tiny little town. But it was a pretty wild school, man. It was an arts school basically. And I was an 8th grader, but it was a high school, but they didn't have any guitar majors at all. So I think they basically were like, oh, you play guitar? Sure. Come on, come on in.
Join our commune.
Absolutely. We'll put you in the dorms that don't have any alarms on them because you don't look like you're going to do anything.
How'd that work out?
I snuck out and got a lot of late night sodas. I'm going to be honest with you. There was a machine right across the, there was a little road kind of in between our dorm and one of the buildings where there were some classrooms. And there was a little soda machine. I used to sneak over there all the time after I was supposed to be in bed. I didn't care. I was in the 8th grade, man. I was just living free and easy.
It's different times back then,
Totally. It was the 90s, it was the 90s and we all know about the 90s. So,
oh my.
But so I was there for a year, and then my family moved to New Albany, Ohio when I was starting high school, which was quite a crazy thing because we basically moved to town, and I was there for 2 days, and then everybody because when you're a musician, people put a lot onto you, project a lot onto you, I think. Basically people were like, oh, you're a musician, so you need to do something musical at the school. And what we have here is the marching band. So you should be in the marching band, So I had to get on a bus with I didn't know a soul, had just moved to town. Nobody knew who I was, and go to band camp to learn how to be in the marching band. Now, at this time, I'm not a particularly big dude now, but I probably weighed 98 pounds soaking wet in a ski suit. I was a tiny little skinny dude, and So they gave me a sousaphone to play.
You got the sousaphone. Good for you.
Which was perfect.
Right.
You know, just
Absolutely.
the size of my entire body. Just
Right.
put another. It was like there was a person just sitting on top of my shoulders. It was like
You
we
have
were
to
playing
have-
chicken in the pool.
You have to have something to separate you from all the hot tail coming after the sousaphone player.
Oh yeah. You need a defense mechanism.
Right.
And that,
No more, ladies. Yeah.
Yeah. Don't make me play this thing.
Yeah. Look out.
So that was pretty weird. And then, it got okay. Like, my dad was working for Ohio State at the time. And so we went to a lot of football games and that was a lot of fun. And, I became involved like in the music community in Columbus, Ohio, where Ohio State was, which was amazing because, man, so many cool bands, such a great music scene. Like I feel so fortunate that my family lived within earshot of that.
A lot of like you don't necessarily realize, and maybe we would, maybe we wouldn't. You don't always hear about these bands, but there are towns that like sneak up. College towns breed these crazy indie rock bands, or just, and that's just a natural thing that happens in these towns. Like, who would have ever thought Lawrence, Kansas would have a ton of bands from it? But it does. It does for sure. Any bands that we would know today that kind of influenced you, I guess, in Columbus?
I mean, gosh, have you songwriter named Tim Easton before?
Sounds super familiar.
Familiar with Tim at all?
No.
I'm trying to think of like, I mean the big, like, okay, Columbus is a great town and it's got a really great music scene, but like the music press there like doesn't always know exactly what to do.
For sure.
Like there was this band called Howlin' Maggie that was super duper cool. They had a song called Alcohol that was like a minor hit on indie rock radio in the 90s. Columbia Records in like 1995 or 96, I think. And when they signed, our hometown newspaper put out an article saying that they had signed the record deal, and the title of the article was "Will Columbus Be the Next Seattle?"
Oh no.
I mean, it was just totally shooting yourself in the foot. You know what I mean?
Have you guys heard of Jimi Hendrix or Kurt Cobain? Happened to be from Seattle. Whenever like on the Wikipedia famous bands from Seattle, when like bands that were headlining like theaters are like on the low list of like the famous people from Seattle, like don't ever say that. That's the equivalent of NBC or Fox or whoever the hell put it out. John Mulaney, arguably very talented comedian, writer, everything, right? He had a sitcom called Mulaney that they advertised as the new Seinfeld. Why would you do that? Like, this guy's
so dumb.
Like, a lot of people think he's a genius, and then they shot the thing in the foot. So, no, I hear that, and I understand how that works. It's very strange. I've seen college town bands like blow nationally touring bands out of the water, and they're guys that have been together like 3 years and then they break up. It's a crazy scene. If you guys are just tuning in, Lee Tasjan is, am I hitting that right? Tasjan?
Oh, you're nailing it, man.
Thank you.
Got it.
Good.
Yeah,
all right. That's important. Is here. My name's Chris Denman at We Are Live Radio at Lee Tasjan on everything. Give us a follow, and our guy ET will be joining before too long. So Aaron's going to play some tunes. We're going to keep chatting, but I do want you to know if you hit share on the stream, you're entered to win a lovely, lovely T-shirt from the warped mind of a Mexico, Missouri resident. You can win this T-shirt that's down here. Wait, hang on. This is confusing. There it is. Boom. Boom. That's right. Drinks with the band. We're giving away thanks to Jack Daniels. And before Aaron plays his first song, I want to give a quick shout out. September, I believe I'm going to say it wrong. It is Hunger Awareness Month. And St. Louis Area Food Bank. I was there today. We work with a talented woman named Rashonda Thornton. She shot some cool video, and we learned a lot about the food bank today. So if you can, support them. They're taking care of 26 counties around St. Louis and beyond, so be sure to support them. They do a lot of great things. What's that? Matt, correct me. Jump in.
They had 4 million pounds of food.
4 million pounds of food, and they have this whole crazy system. So this may seem like a weird place to support a food bank, but it's not. You guys can support them. This is a great time. Aaron, Katie Tupin says you're great. Spotify says you're great. Tiny Desk, NPR says you're great. Can we hear a song to kick things off? Thank you so much. Shout out to your cats and that awesome couch in the background.
Thank you. We're living as large as we can over here, all things considered.
Nashville strong.
We do have 2 cats, so I feel like, we're
let's
moving up in the world.
#blessed at the bottom of his screen. Let's let people know. We're dealing with the fancy pants tonight. Aaron Lee Tasjan has 2 cats, and he's kicking it off with his first song. What do you got for us, Aaron?
I'll do a song for you called "I Love America Better Than You."
Oh boy, thank you.
Sorry, guys. It was in tune when I bought it. All right, let's try this one out. Well, I love America better than you, her dirty money and her hot dogs too. Illegal immigrants, first black president. I love America better than you. Well, happy independence. I hope you weren't dependent on we're all created equal to go live some kind of dream. And I'm not sure that sparklers or $20 parking is gonna get me free enough to hear the eagle scream. I love America better than you, her dirty money and her hot dogs too. Illegal immigrants, first black president. I love America better than you. Hey, Uncle Sam, I was raised a man by a daddy who went to Vietnam. I bet he's doing better than his buddies on the wall. But old trigger finger strikes again and pulls on things he don't intend. And meanwhile his mind is wandered off somewhere down the hall. I love America better than you, her dirty money and her hot dogs too. Illegal immigrants, first black president. I love America better than you. They say our founding fathers built a Christian nation, but nowhere in the Bible does God bless the USA. But at least he gave us Walmart and our dear old friends, the Indians, who showed us how to smoke tobacco. I guess that's a good revenge. I love America better than you, her dirty money and her hot dogs too. Illegal immigrants, first black president. I love America better than you. I love America better than you, her dirty water and her hot dogs too. Illegal immigrants, first black president. I love America better than you. I love America better than you. I love America better than you.
I don't know who this dude thinks he is. I fucking love America so much. Oh, Aaron, great tune, bro. Unbelievable. You sound wonderful, by the way. Shout out to Matt. We got a little fix in our system, and then you got the beautiful mic and everything. Way to kick things off. Usually we wait for our special co-host, E.T. I made a drink while you were playing. Cheers, buddy. Wonderful start. Yes, indeed. Thanks, cheers, everybody out there listening. We have so many people tuned in. So I wanted to say thank you, number one, to everybody for tuning in. If you don't know yet, if you hit share, you're entered to win a badass Aaron Lee Tasjan t-shirt. And then when E.T. from Jack Daniels comes on in just a bit, we're going to give away a set of Jack Daniels AirPods in which you can listen to Aaron for whatever streaming service or Bandcamp or whatever that you get his music through. For COVID and everything else, Where are you at in the new music writing process, release process, keeping an eye on the road, career-wise? If it's not too painful, what is happening in your head or world right now?
I actually have an album that I started mixing in April. So I'd been working on the record for about 2 years in between touring, and I finished recording it at the very beginning of this year, probably in January. And so we had plans to mix it in April, and the time came, and it was just like, well, who knows what's happening? Let's just do it. So I have a finished record that will come out next year, hopefully, if there's a next year.
Fair. It's a good thing you love America. I think it's going to get us to the next phase. With that, and I'm sorry to cut you off. With that, is the hope that there's touring potential within 6 months of that release, or is it nope, this is just the time and whatever's happening, new music is out?
I mean, the truth is, for I'm in a very fortunate position to where I've
well, you have 2 cats, so that's obvious.
Yeah, as we all know. But I've spent like the last 15 years of my life on the road. Like I have a touring audience that I had built before this happened, and so there's an email in my inbox right now with like 4 like socially distanced, supposedly safe shows that I could potentially go play, but like I look at that and I go like, I look at my hometown. I look at Broadway, where, they're allowing people to just, behave like total animals and like not wear masks and drink
in
and
Nashville.
Not socially distance. Yeah. In Nashville. Yeah. And like, and people's kids can't go to school.
No, and I have to interrupt you on this. Matt, has Kid Rock's bar taken more hits on this show than anything?
More than anything.
Okay, I just want to confirm that. I apologize, Aaron. Please continue. I just it's an easy thing to lean on. So, I'm sorry if you're a regular.
I've never set foot inside Kid Rock's big ass honky tonk. And now Steakhouse, because here's what happened.
Shut the fuck up.
They were trying to shut the place down. So he added Steakhouse to the end of it so that it's now a restaurant and they can legally stay open. Smart man.
Yeah, old kid. Sorry, you were saying people can't go to school. People are suffering essentially.
It feels like, as much as I would love to go play some shows right now, even if they're like reduced capacity and all that kind of stuff, like I feel like I really need to stand in good faith with like my brothers and sisters here in Nashville who are like fighting to, like these bars are open and people can go in there and like give each other the virus like all day long. Like people like me and people who are even like less fortunate than me, who are a working musician who might not have a touring audience or something like that, like they can't do anything, and so it just, I don't know, there's something about it that just feels like it's not the right time, as much as I would love to go and do it. And I view music like truly as like a public service. Like I think I'm providing a service to people for people, like I do it for myself as well, but like a huge part of why I love it is the connection with other people. So like if I can't do that while I'm looking somebody in the eye, like I don't know if I should be doing it.
That makes sense, and I feel lucky to have you on here today as well. So it's nice to be able to connect in whatever way that we can, for sure.
Totally.
I'm curious, I guess, with being in Nashville, right? You spent a lot of time in New York. You grew up literally all over, East, West, Middle, Midwest, whatever. Your experience in Nashville, from an industry standpoint, I find we've been so lucky. We've had so many cool people on the show. We learned so much. I keep going back to Savannah Conley, who's an Americana singer, and she's just the best. She's sweet. She's young. Who started off her career opening for Brandi Carlile. Amazing. But what was more interesting to me, I'm like, yes, you are crazy. But her parents are session musicians. Her dad plays for Kenny Chesney or something. Long story short, you've played in other bands, correct?
That is correct.
So being in Nashville and being on a successful label and having the opportunity, like you said, to kind of develop your own crowd and style. Could you ever see yourself either being a hired gun again, or where are you at, I guess, professionally? Because Nashville, I feel like everybody you bump into could be the second greatest guitar player you've ever heard.
I might be the 103rd best guitar player you've ever heard.
Pretty solid.
But I feel like Nashville basically forced me into being who I have always been, which is a songwriter. I played guitar because I could, because I could pay the bills with it. And I played with everybody from Mark Cohn to the New York Dolls. I mean,
you were in the New York Dolls.
I wouldn't say I was in the New York Dolls. I toured with, I did a tour with them and did some promotional events with them. But they actually did ask me to join the band, but I kind of saw the writing on the wall and
right.
And moved to Nashville instead. But I think like what was interesting about that to me was, being the guitarist was never like the goal of mine. Like I was writing songs like the whole time. I was just such a shy kid. Like I just didn't think they were probably worth anything really. I was like, no one wants to hear this,
Right.
Why would they? And so I moved to Nashville to join another band, and that band basically broke up after we did our first tour. And I made a record of my own songs, thinking that at the very least it would be a representation of what I do on guitar. Sure. So maybe I could show it to people who might want to hire me as a guitar, totally like a business card kind of.
Right.
And so I made this record, and it was called In the Blazes, and I put it out, and I got asked to do a show with this band called Traveler, who are some buddies of mine. Robert Ellis is in the band, and my friend Corey Chisel's in the band, and my friend Johnny Fritz is in the band, and it's really cool, kind of Americana, sort of super groupie kind of thing. And so I played this song, and like Ann Powers from NPR was like at the show and started tweeting about my song. And all of a sudden, like people were reviewing my record on NPR, and then Rolling Stone reviewed my record. And then I played a show with my buddy John Moreland at the 5 Spot, and John was becoming really popular at the time. Every label in town basically came to see John. Right. And then I got a record deal because I just happened to be there playing too.
You were tucked in. You were Trojan horsing with that guy. That's fantastic to hear. You were. I'm trying to. Was it what Matt, the other band, Semi Precious Weapons? Is that who you were? Yeah. You were part of that as well.
I co-founded that band with the singer and wrote all the early songs together. He and I wrote, and that guy now he writes literally like he wrote the Justin Bieber song Sorry. He wrote every single song on the last Selena Gomez record, every single song on the last Gwen Stefani record. He's an incredibly talented dude. And I thought Semi Precious Weapons could take over the world, but people were not ready for our band. Like our sexuality and like all that kind of stuff was like absolutely pulverizing to some people. Jimmy Iovine literally told us men in makeup couldn't sell records.
What?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay, if you all aren't familiar, Jimmy Iovine's Tom Petty, most famously Dr. Dre recently. Take your pick. Name any Stevie Nicks. I'm thinking of all the people from the documentary. Amazing documentary on HBO. I can't remember what that was called, but either way, are you kidding me? He said that.
Yeah. We had like sold out CBGBs. Like all these people from Interscope came to see us and stuff like that, and We were on PerezHilton.com, which was a big blog at the time. So everybody thought we were like
Perez Hilton. I've mentioned it before. Dude, I'll never forget it because I'm just saying this because it speaks to like how big Perez Hilton was in internet culture. I remember being at South by Southwest as just like a kid in 2007 walking around and like Perez Hilton hammered, smashing a burrito into his face on the side of the floor. And I was just like, wow, that was like a weird thing for me at the time, thinking like that guy is really famous right now, like like in 2007, and it was before he lost. So he was that's my Perez Hilton story. But it's extremely relevant, and it's weird that it's relevant. But what a timestamp, right?
Yeah, man, for a minute, like his thing was just super hot, like so being on there was a weirdly kind of a big deal, and so all these people started coming around, and none of them would sign us. They all came. We did a showcase at Sony in the old Sony studios, which I think is gone now. But it was the widest attended showcase in the history of Columbia Records. There was like over 300 staff members from Sony Music at our showcase.
Were they just so intrigued? Like what was okay? So why can't you bottle that and sell it?
Because Steve Barnett, who ran the company from Connecticut, came down and looked at us.
There was disdain when you said that. Did you hear that, Matt? He said, from Connecticut.
I appreciated every bit of that.
That made me so happy. I picked it up. I was like,
office is in New York. You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing in Connecticut, bro?
Hey, dork. We're a rock band. I'm sorry.
Come on down where the office is, man. Like,
yeah. So he said, no go.
He said, I don't get it. Which meant pass.
It's not for you to get it always.
Right.
That's strange.
Well, I think some people in those positions, like, it really depends. Like, I think there's two ways to run a big label like that. And one is to just be super gutsy and take huge chances all the time. Mm-hmm. And the other is to be super duper conservative,
Right.
And he was definitely like conservative. And we literally had a song called She Only Wants to Fuck Jesus. So
Drinks with the band, everybody. Shout out. No, and you know what? And when you're him and you have all these records and wins on your wall, who's going to tell you you're wrong?
Oh,
so
totally.
I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah. No.
That's how it goes. If you're just tuning in, Aaron Lee Tasjan on the show tonight. We do this each and every week. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we have Carolina Story next week. Great group. They've been touring with Hayes Carl, if you catch them. So that'll be a good time. And then we're going until September 30th, where we'll close out with Brian Owens. He's a soul singer from here in St. Louis, very talented guy himself. Real quick, Aaron, we've got a few more songs to play. We'll be joined by E.T. here in just a bit. I do want to remind people, if you hit share, we're giving away a T-shirt. And then in just a bit, we'll tell you how you can win a pair of Jack Daniels AirPods. And I love getting these emails and pictures back. So in the final show, we'll have a big collage of everybody that's won these pictures. And it's people from all over the country, all different types of people. And I love it because the payoff of people being super excited or telling us they've never won anything, like that makes me so happy. So maybe we'll pick a random winner who's never won anything tonight. So, and Aaron Lee Tasjan's making that possible. Thank you, sir.
Hey, I do what I can.
And you're doing a great job with what you can. I'm down for another song. You feel like it? The cats want to hear another tune?
Totally.
Okay.
One of them probably does.
Do we have names?
One of them is a fan of music. There's Little Prince is the gray and white one.
Okay.
And the little gray tabby one is Little Monster is his name.
Little Prince and Little Monster. Way cool names for cats. Great job.
Thank you.
I guess it'd be disappointing for like a super like artistic, very cool musician to have like, it's Bill and James, the cat. What? All right. Aaron, take it away, my friend.
Okay, you got it. One day, they said the future was flying cars and a ride on a rocket. Well, time passed, and all I got was America Today and a TV in my pocket. Ain't setting the place on fire, though some days I could feel the spark. Ain't the one who they all desire. I'm hiding now till the town goes dark. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Tough talkers and lip readers, your friends of friends are all who they seem. I can't rest thinking about them. It kinda makes me wanna sleep through my dreams. Ain't setting the place on fire, those days I could feel the spark. Ain't the one who they all desire. I'm hiding now till the town goes dark. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. I lay low, I ride high, somewhere between I'll probably die. I get the joke every time. I always laugh, though I know how to cry. Ain't setting the place on fire, though some days I could feel the spark. Ain't the one who they all desire. Oh, I'm hiding out till the town goes dark. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Ooh, ooh,
Did you guys hear how at the end he got real sentimental? That was for me. That was for me. I asked Aaron to do that, and I appreciate you following through on it. It means a lot.
Man, I do what I'm told, for better or worse.
Right. Like moving to Nashville and turning into a freaking monster. I'm digging this. I'm having a really good time. I want to remind everybody, Jack Daniels makes this stuff happen. Cheers, everybody. E.T. will be joining us in just a bit. He'll be responsible for that AirPod giveaway. Now, I'm curious, too. Same label as our friend Ron Gallo. Ron's an amazing dude. He grew up in the Northeast. He's not a huge fan of Nashville now that he has to actually live there and not just stay there when he's not on tour. Are you digging Nashville for what it is for you?
Man, my favorite part of Nashville is the community, and there are it's what's cool about it. Living in New York, there wasn't, you kind of had to basically almost ingratiate yourself to people in this really unattractive sort of way to be able to just have a conversation sometimes with other musicians that you admired or wanted to talk to or try to play with, or people in New York are just they're they have no patience. You know what I mean?
So are you essentially, did you feel like you were dancing for people? Do you have to drop your cred? You start dropping names before you, was that the feeling anyway?
Not so much name droppy, but just you had to sort of prove that you were interested. If you wanted to, you would have better luck going to the same guy's gig 4 weeks in a row and sort of just being oh man, remember me? I'm the guy who's been here a bunch recently, I'm a big fan
I played
of yours.
too.
Yeah. It sucks, man. That kind of
Right.
thing makes me super uncomfortable, but that there was really no other way to do it. Here in Nashville, people are super duper supportive. I mean, when I put out my first record on a label, Silver Tears, which came out on New West Records in 2016, I played a release show here in town at 3rd and Lindsley, and Lucinda Williams came to my show. because she just heard that it might be good. Someone had been like, "Hey,
And it's
this guy
proximity.
doesn't totally suck."
Right.
Like,
and it's proximity.
like, all right,
She's
I guess.
there. She's based
Right.
there. That's amazing. Yeah. I love that. I love hearing stories like that where it's like, it's almost like if you wrote that in a series about a musician, you'd be like, come on. It's like,
Right. No, totally.
right. Come on. That's pushing it. Go a little lower. Right. No, I love I love those parts. Like if that's what makes Nashville, like those subtle pieces that kind of motivate you more, or at least make you feel validated for that moment. Like, I don't know, man. You're talking about it now. I'm guessing it's kind of a shining moment in your career. So
Totally.
that, like, you can't beat that. That's awesome. That's very cool to hear.
She like invited me to go on tour with her afterwards. I mean, I was losing my shit backstage. Like I was trying to talk to her and I just couldn't, because like, to me, that lady is, may as well be like Tom Petty. Like
Sure.
I know her catalog that well and that deeply. And I'm such a huge fan and have been for so long. Like she just means the world to me. So I was just like an idiot, just like falling all over myself, like trying to figure out how to relate to this legend that like just stopped by my show because the waiter at the restaurant like that they were at was like, "Hey, this kid's pretty decent. You should check him out," and like they took his word for it. You know what I mean? Like,
and he was dumb enough to give advice to her, like, right? Like he probably like that. What a weird string of events. Like that guy'd probably been living there or was in college or something. He'd been living there for like 2 weeks. And he's like, "Oh yeah, hey, you like music?"
Yeah.
Have
you heard of music?
Shout out to the waiter at Old Chicago or wherever.
Yeah. I think it was Damon's Ribs is where it was.
Okay. Shout out to Damon's Ribs.
But like that to me, like that's the part of living here that I really enjoy, is that the artist community is supportive and to me inspiring. Like I find the work that other people are doing here more so. I love country music, but more so like people like Ron, who are sort of doing something that may be a little slightly different than what most people think of Nashville being. Although if you've lived here, like you understand, like, I mean, Bobby Bear Jr., made Bear Jr. here in the 90s, like rock and roll and stuff like that has been happening here forever. Like, and it's always been really cool and kind of unique. So in a way, it kind of feels like you're stepping into that a little bit but you're as an outsider. So, it's just cool to be, I've gotten to hang out with Bobby Bear. Bobby Bear took me to lunch at Hooters with the dude who wrote "I'll Be There for You" by the Friends theme song or whatever from the Rembrandts. Like,
I have a friend who thinks every band ever, shout out to thinks that they sound, anytime it's like a rock band, she thinks it's the Friends theme. Either way. So the importance of an emerging city like Nashville, not even emerging, super established, but it's not New York or LA. I think it may be redundant because you're living your life there and it's maybe already proof, but do you think that's incredibly important, kind of important, not a big deal for musicians and artists to have a city like Nashville continue to grow?
I mean, honestly, I think Nashville has probably grown faster than people were really even anticipating, and it's definitely caused some problems, and gentrification is a major issue, particularly where I live. Communities that have been here for their entire life are being displaced, so that people like me can like move into town, and like at a certain point, like you kind of have to like question that on some level, I feel like. So I feel like, Patti Smith a couple of years ago said, if you're an artist, don't go to New York because there's nothing here for you. There's not a scene that can support artists anymore, and I mean, Nashville is a music industry town, so I don't feel like there's any danger of that happening. But just in terms of like communities being displaced and, and the kind of thing that like happens in like recently in Austin, Texas, where like so many people were moving to town a day that like real estate prices became insane. And like all these people started moving in who didn't like music.
Weird.
And their main complaint in town was like, oh, I live next to this bar and they're always like playing music in there. And you're like, it's 6th Street in Austin, man. Like, what in the world did you think was going to happen? Like,
Right.
Are you kidding? You know, but it's just a real, you know, problem that you face when you have so many people moving to town. So I'm happy to be here now. I'm very happy for the time that I've spent here. I don't know if I'll always live here or not. I feel like eventually, you know, smaller towns are maybe going to become the artist havens or something like that, where like, you know, I mean, it might be a trip to live in Lawrence, Kansas, man. What do I know? You know, I mean, like I've been to the Bottleneck before. I spent some time, you know.
Of course. I mean, okay, first of all, and I guess maybe it's past, but like to certain people, especially you'll understand this, but like if it was 19, and maybe I'm off here, but I'm just trying to think. If it was 1989 and I went back and told someone in 1989 the city of Omaha, Nebraska would have cultural relevance in the early 2000s and indie rock, they would look at you like you're a fool, right? Like, but then you had like what, Saddle Creek, like exploded on their way. So maybe the COVID stuff happens and it does change things up a little. It does give different areas more of a, hey, we can do this from here. I mean, maybe that's something too. So great point. Absolutely. And I look forward to you moving to Lawrence, Kansas.
I have a good Omaha story if you want. I can do it real quick if you want to hear an Omaha story.
I would love to hear it. I'm getting a look over from Matt. Oh. Jump on the mic. What do we got, Matt?
Oh, I just thought maybe because he's here, we would like to bring in our old pal E.T.
Aaron, put your story on pause. The man himself, E.T., Eric Tikoski. He is the U.S. ambassador for Jack Daniels, and you can follow him on Instagram at SuperHypeLLC. E.T., you've got a lot of people watching, listening. We've got a drink that can be made tonight. You guys can join us in cheersing. Aaron Lee Tasjan is here. E.T. sent me the most earnest text ever. Wow, this guy's really good. And I said, and again, E.T.'s got enough stories himself. E.T., great to have you on, buddy.
Thank you. Sorry I'm a little late tonight. Appreciate you accommodating me.
Well, you jumped on right in time. Aaron Lee Tasjan was going to give us a dazzling story of Omaha, Nebraska. And if it doesn't involve the slowdown, I'm going to be a little bit disappointed.
Well, it's almost like this. There was a slowing down at one point during the story. I'll get to that.
Great.
I was opening for a band called the legendary Shack Shakers at a place in Reverb. And I tell a lot of stories and stuff during my show. And so I probably told some stories maybe about having too good a time, as we all do from time to time. You know, it's hard to measure at a certain point, and sometimes you go a little too far. And so I might have told that story, and a guy came up to me after the show. This was, by the way, like February in Omaha. This guy had on a leather vest and nothing else, like no shirt underneath.
For anyone that doesn't know, when I was in Omaha in February, and there was 4 feet of snow, and I'm not exaggerating. Like like it was
freezing.
It was like 3/4 of my body. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
So he goes, hey man, I really dug your story and I just felt like you could really use this. And he handed me this sort of like dirty paper napkin that was balled up. And he put it in my hand like so sincerely. I just thought like and he wasn't wearing a shirt underneath his vest. I thought I better take this, you know?
Right.
So I did, and I put it in my pocket and I forgot about it. And then about 3 weeks later, I was home and I had that same pair of pants on, and I put my hand, because I never do my laundry, and I put my hand in my pocket and I pulled that napkin out and I was like, oh man. And I opened it up and it was acid. It was like some tabs of acid.
Did you fly?
And I swallowed all of it immediately. And I wrote 4 songs from Silver Tears that day.
Are you serious?
I wrote a song called Dime. I wrote a song called Where the Road Begins and Ends. I wrote Little Movies, and I wrote a song called Ready to Die, all that same day.
He was right. You did need it.
Yeah.
I mean, God bless that man, you know? He knew
That's
somehow.
amazing.
And wow.
Omaha, Nebraska.
And you weren't on anything at the time. You just took it and didn't know what you had, and then you went and made 4 great tunes. E.T., I know you've got a story we're going to get to in a bit. Wow, way to tune things up there, Aaron. Thank you for sharing that. My goodness. Real quick, we've reminded folks a few times we're giving away an Aaron Lee Tasjan t-shirt if you hit share. And then we've got a pair of AirPods that are branded from Jack Daniels. But first, E.T., you want to show folks, hey, I got a little thirsty and went ahead and made my cocktail. What are you mixing up for the folks tonight? What do we have?
See, that's how easy it is. You didn't even need my instructions live
I
in
need
person
Aaron
to make this for you.
It's a problem. He has to pick simple recipes. I'm like, dude, I'm talking. I mean, what do you want me to do?
Well, this one I'm glad I picked for you because you've heard of a Godfather cocktail? Scotch and Amaretto.
Oh, okay,
big
yes.
drink in the 70s, I believe. So I started saying, well, the Godfather shouldn't own 2 ingredient cocktails. It's not really fair, right? So I thought I would start making, Godfather style cocktails, like a sour or, a spritz or a highball. Like it's not just a drink. It's a whole category of cocktails. So tonight, in the Godfather-esque style of cocktails, 2 ingredients, Jack Daniels, Old No. 7, and then we're going to use a grapefruit liqueur. The fancy word for grapefruit liqueur is pamplemousse, but that sounds really pretentious, so I'm just going to call it grapefruit liqueur. But it's delicious, and it's just an ounce of each, which you don't really have to measure. You know at this point, an ounce is an ounce, and
that's how we do it here.
Just get really close to half and half. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're playing at home and you want to measure. Remember, a tablespoon is a half ounce, so 2 tablespoons is an ounce. If you don't have a,
remember that,
tool.
Aaron.
Oh, yeah, I'm writing all this down.
Thank you.
So then you just need a little bit of ice, and you have a cocktail in the Godfather collection. Grapefruit and Jack is a good match. Grapefruit soda, great. Now you don't have to do this, but I had some grapefruit in the fridge, so I'm going to do a little grapefruit peel. Just leave a little twist, get some of those oils.
You dog.
So you get a nice grapefruit aroma.
That's
it. Easy breezy.
Great work. Hey, cheers everybody to
Cheers.
E.T., to Aaron, and to all
Cheers,
of you
y'all.
tuning in. A lot of cool comments, a lot of hip comments. We'll get to those in just a second. And if you have a question for E.T., who's the U.S. ambassador for Jack Daniels, or our guy, Aaron Lee Tasjan, hey, maybe we'll throw to some viewer comments here in a bit. We got quite a few people tuned in, so I want to hear what they have to say or want to know. It is important that we reward people for tuning in.
It is.
How are we rewarding people tonight, and what do you want them to? How do you want them to dance? As Aaron told us he had to do anytime he talked to another musician in New York. How do we want? How do we want to make people dance for this prize tonight?
Well, I felt bad because I knew we had to switch the show a little bit because I was running late. So I figured I would come out, swinging. Now this isn't going to come in a big package, but we do have a small little box that holds your Apple AirPods with Jack Daniels branding on them, and also on your custom Jack Daniels AirPod holder.
Walk around, tell people Jack Daniels is your grandpa with that.
Yeah. Jack Daniels
exclusive.
I inherited this from him.
These are family AirPods. They've been in for years and years. Now this is incredible. Matt, were you anticipating that we were giving away AirPods? Did you find any online?
I scoured the net, and I was afraid to show anyone that I could be wrong, but I feel like I was pretty close.
Okay, great work. Yeah, great work. That's close, right?
Close.
Yeah.
Close. Didn't I send you a picture?
Yes, you did, but Matt wanted to show off a photo that he found, so
I see.
That's where we went. Also, shout out to Aaron's cats going bananas in the background. I love it.
I cut to just Aaron so I could watch the cats while he talked.
Oh, it wasn't because our guest is super interesting and we wanted to focus on him more? Okay. So we're giving away the Jack Daniels AirPods, and how do people win those?
It's a great question. So I did have a thought a couple of weeks ago
Hard hitter.
You know, as I mentioned to you during this world shutting down, I decided to put more time into trying to learn how to play guitar finally. So I know the first song I learned on guitar, and I feel like everyone at some points either played the recorder, guitar, trombone, drum. So put in the first song you ever learned to play on an instrument, whether you ever excelled at it or became, you know, someone amazing, just whatever song you learned first.
That's great. Drop that in the comments and you're entered to win the AirPods. That's literally all you have to do. And if you hit share, you're entered to win an Aaron t-shirt. So I'm excited to give these away. And we'll read some of these too. So tell us what you tried to learn first. E.T., what was your first song you tried to learn?
I didn't try. My guitar teacher, Carlos Calvo, who you'll meet in a couple weeks. He's smart enough to know that if I like the song or know the song, I'll probably practice it more.
Sure.
So the very first song was As Tears Go By, the Rolling Stones. Couple easy chords, little strumming.
That's pretty serious.
You know, and it's like, hey, if I can play a Stone song less than one, now, can I play it well? No, but was it something I could learn? Yes. He also gave me the very, very, very opening riff of Whole Lotta Love, which was fun too. He gave me the beginner version, not the power chord version, but I've since moved on.
I'm trying to think. Please finish. Oh yeah, I was going to say.
No, that's it. That's all I got.
I had a friend that worked at Guitar Center in the early to mid 2000s, and the licks he would hear from every turd coming in.
Well, they still have signs that say "No Stairway," right? Like they did in
Wayne's World.
Movie? Yeah,
Wayne's
that's
World.
a real thing, man. Like they didn't make that up for the movie because that never happened.
It depends on where you live too, because like I bet here in the Midwest, like every shithead tried to play the opening lines of like All the Small Things, or like there was a band called Under Oath that I have no doubt that people at a certain point tried to play those, like, or I don't know. Aaron, what was the first song you ever tried? Or you were probably very good very early, but what was the first thing you got after?
That would have been My Girl by The Temptations.
Classic.
Nice.
Very nice.
But
let me
you know,
ask
it's
you a question, Aaron.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. Finish.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it just struck me as interesting that As Tears Go By was the first tune that you learned, because it's also the very first tune that Keith and Mick wrote together.
Yes. That makes me like you even more that you knew that, because that's what he told me. He said it's apropos. It's the first song you learned. It's the first song they wrote together.
I should fucking teach guitar, man. Like, come on.
You should. Well, that was what my question was.
Right.
Where's my
So
lesson
I've heard
plan?
you play and I've heard you sing, and I'm a fan. I listened to you all day yesterday and today. I usually we just wait till day of, and I started yesterday listening to you and continued because you're really good. And I hope you answer this question correctly, so I'm giving you the out to think about it. You practice and you get better, right? Like I suck right now, but if I keep practicing, I will get good. Is that true?
Yeah, actually. I mean, yeah, you can't.
I'm not saying I'm going to be Jimi Hendrix, but I will get better, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like practicing is one of those things that it's really like, when I was a kid, I never thought of it as practicing. I just wanted to play the guitar. So that was kind of how I always like framed it in my mind, as like, I'm not practicing, like I'm playing because I enjoy this. Like something about the word I remember when I was 10, I asked my parents if I could have a guitar, and they said, "You don't want that. You're gonna have to practice." And I was like, you know what? You're right. I don't want to do that. That's a very good point. But when it came time to actually getting the guitar and like and quote unquote practicing, like I was like what you mentioned, you know, I was playing songs that I loved, you know. So for me, it didn't feel like practice so much as just like, oh, I can kind of play this song. Like that's really cool. I've definitely, like, at the very least, you can be a different kind of bad, you know, which can work. You know, the more you practice, it's like you can not excel in other areas. I've
Right.
I've taken that approach in many various styles of playing guitar myself. So I recommend it.
Well, I feel like I innately took your advice before you gave it to me, because when I go to play, I tell my wife, hey, I'll see in like an hour, I'm going to go rock out. So I never say practice. I say I'm going to go rock out, even though rocking out is not quite, what you might think it is. It's to me like, what is that damn thing? Why is my C chord keep thudding?
It's very rocking out. Saying that, I feel like telling your wife you're going to go rock out is some. Are you familiar with this thing called Rigs of Dad?
No, but I need to be.
No, it's an
Instagram account that I highly suggest following if you do that kind of stuff. It's basically just like it's like a bunch of dudes like telling their wives they're going to go rock out, and it's phenomenal.
I like it.
I'm checking it out as soon as we're done here.
Get a t-shirt.
That's amazing. We've got a couple more songs from Lee Tasjan left here. E.T. from Jack Daniels here. You can follow him at Superhype LLC on Instagram, at We Are Live Radio for myself, and at Lee Tasjan wherever you're following Aaron. We've got a lot of people jumping in the comments, and we're going to hear a song from Aaron, and then we're going to get some of those. I want to remind you, if you tell us the first song, you didn't have to do well, you just had to try and learn your first song, drop them in the comments. We'll read some of those after this next song, and you're entered to win the Jack Daniels giveaway, which is a pair of AirPods that are actually family heirlooms. So we're going to make this happen. Aaron, if you're up for it, I'd love to hear another tune, man.
Yeah, I got you. I'll do this one because it feels very fitting. I wrote it in Illinois after I accidentally tipped a pizza guy like I played this bar, and then I had a lot of drinks at the bar afterwards and decided to order a pizza in my hotel room, which was just across the street, so I could like walk there,
sure.
Which was also and so the pizza, I guess I just gave him all of the money that they paid me from the show. Like I insisted that he take all of my money from the show that night. And then I woke up the next day and the trouble with drinking is it ain't no trouble at all. I don't have no problem when it comes to alcohol. It's as easy to come by as the air that I breathe, unless I'm low on money or too high on the weed. Well, some guys lose their woman and some guys lose their nerve. Some guys lose their temper and use those nasty words. I just lose my troubles and hell if when I wake up tomorrow, they'll be too easy to find. 'Cause the trouble with drinking is it ain't no trouble at all. I don't have no problem when it comes to alcohol. It's as easy to come by as the air that I breathe, unless I'm low on money or too high on the weed. Now, I ain't one for singing all them drinking songs. I'd rather leave it to old Jack Ingram and keep on keeping on. But I sure love the drinking part, and I think it loves me. So I hold this beer in my hand forever after, happily. 'Cause the trouble with drinking is trouble at all. I don't have no problem when it comes to alcohol. It's as easy as the air that I breathe, unless I'm low on money or too high on the weed. I ain't one for singing all them drinking songs. I'd rather leave it to old Todd Snyder and keep on keeping on. But I sure love the drinking part, and I think it loves me. So I hold this Jack Daniels in my hand forever after happily. 'Cause the trouble with drinking is it ain't no trouble at all. I don't have no problem when it comes to alcohol. It's as easy to come by as the air that I breathe, unless I'm low on money or too high on the weed. It's as easy to come by as the air that I breathe, unless I'm low on money or too high on the weed. Then I don't need no alcohol.
Leave it on him. Did you see how? Just leave it on him. He's like, hey, just don't say anything else. E.T., don't talk.
So good.
That was so good. I love that we know the story behind it too. And like, we've all been there. Like, we've all done that where you're like, hey, what's, anybody have that cash? Where's that I gave you that cash, right? No, remember you bought Goldschlager for the entire bar, asshole. Like, that's, ugh. By the way, E.T., did Aaron just
Yes.
earn himself a headlining spot on the first little festival we put together when everything clears up?
Well, he earned two things. He earned his spot in putting Jack Daniels in his song, but because he did that on the fly, I think I have a challenge for him.
Oh, this could be interesting. How are you with challenges, Aaron?
I've lived life. I got it.
You're like, I'm like, hey man, let's go ahead and make sure he's cool with this. All right, go ahead. You're on your own, pal.
Yeah. Well, remember earlier we were talking about my buddy's uncle's beach house?
Yes.
Chris, remember that?
Yes, I do. And beach houses always make for good stories, so I'm excited to see where this goes.
Yeah. So there's a guitar at the end of it. So I'm thinking maybe there's music at the end of it, and maybe we can challenge to rewrite the history of this story. So when I first moved to LA, let's just say it was a few years ago, a good friend of mine from the East Coast also moved out here, and his uncle was a wildly successful TV producer. And I don't want to date myself, but I will. He created Dallas and Knots Landing. He actually wrote the episode of Who Shot JR, if anyone out there remembers any of that.
It's a big
and
deal.
all of that wild success got him a house in the hills, and he also bought a house in Malibu on the beach. And he had young-ish kids. So from September to May, they had to go live back in the Hollywood house so the kids can go to school. My buddy, roommate, had keys. So it's basically our Malibu beach house from September to May for years. It was amazing. And the next door neighbor of this house was Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. So every once in a while you see Goldie Hawn jogging on the beach, and we were like dumb 22-year-olds, like this can't be our life. And the whole world came crashing down when his cousin, the son of the uncle, started going to college, and his friends realized, holy shit, you have a house on the beach in Malibu. Get your dumb cousin and his friends out of here. This is your house. So we kind of got paraded out of the house. So a couple years later, my buddy's like, hey, we're all going to meet at the house Sunday and have like an old school beach day. My cousin's going Saturday night with his friends. They're going to have a party, but we'll just go Sunday like old people and chill for the day. And we're like, yeah, cool, whatever. Like all of us got back, and so we were probably 6 or 7 years older than the cousin. So we get there, come to find out, if you've ever seen pictures of Malibu beach houses, they're kind of right on top of each other. So Kurt and Goldie's house had been rented out that summer to friggin' Robert De Niro. So literally like 30 feet away, this is like a year or two after Goodfellas, there's De Niro and Joe.
Oh, did he freeze?
Pesci.
You froze.
Like, oh my
you
God.
froze at Joe Pesci's.
Like, that's Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci. Yeah. Oh,
You're back.
so
You're back.
Robert De
You're
Niro
back.
and Joe Pesci rented their De Niro rented the house. Yeah, so Pesci and De Niro are 30 feet away from us, and we find out that these kids were partying the night before, and around midnight the door knocks, and it was De Niro, and he's like, "Look, I know you kids are having a good time. I want you to have a good time. You just got to turn the stereo down a little bit. I got kids. I got my 3-year-old and my whatever-year-old." So like, "Oh my God, yes, Mr. De Niro. Sorry. And he was super sweet. 1:30, knock, knock, knock. All right, look, midnight, whatever. It's 1:30 in the morning. Tone it down. Oh my God, we're so sorry." The next time he knocked, apparently he went full De Niro and was like, "You turn that fuck," like, and these kids were so scared. And, they're like, "Oh my God, De Niro went full De Niro." So while they're telling us this story, one of the kids is just sitting there, it's no shirt, jean shorts, and an acoustic guitar strapped around his shoulder. And he keeps walking near De Niro, who's now walking up the path with his kids on his shoulder. And we're like, "What is he doing?"
No,
And
don't.
he's like, he wrote a song
No.
to apologize to Robert De Niro, and he wants to go sing it. And half of the crowd was like, "Don't fucking do that." And then half of the crowd, me included, were like, "Oh yeah, great idea, man. You definitely want to do that." And we're like, "No," we're like, "Dude, don't do it." Mostly his friends would do it. We're like, "Don't do it." And then all of a sudden, he just you see his eyes change and got that determination and starts going towards De Niro, who's got like a 3-year-old on his shoulders. And the kid walks up to him with his guitar, shirtless, and he's like, "Hey, Mr. De Niro, I'm really, really sorry about last night, and I know we kept you up late, and I wanted to apologize, but I put it into a song. Can I play the song for you?" De Niro just like stops, kid on shoulders, like that, and the kid literally, now that I play bad guitar, I even know how bad this was worse. He just open strings plucks like ding, Mr. De Niro, ding, you're our hero, ding, and then De Niro just taps him on the shoulder and walks away. Like he didn't want to hear any more of the apology song, and just walks up, and this kid just comes back like feeling worse about what happened, and now we're all the rest of the day we're like ding, like it was amazing. I mean, I felt awful for De Niro that his summer vacation had to be, ruined by these kids. But for my money, it was great fun.
Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong. Had he taken 4 hits of acid from Omaha, Nebraska, he would have had a hit.
Yeah.
He would have had
this
a
is
hit.
the difference.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. A lot of people don't, realize like it's the difference between professional and that.
Correct.
Is 4 hits of acid.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate you reaffirming.
So I guess my earlier challenge would be, having been and could be currently, can you write a De Niro apology song for me?
Oh.
Oh man, we'll digest that one.
Yeah, I think I can put it together. When do you need it by?
Look, I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, so at your leisure.
Bob, I'm so sorry.
Full screen,
about
please.
the beach house and all the noise last evening. Your children deserve a nice vacation. By God, we didn't mean to ruin their beach time, but I hope that you got a good sunscreen, because we all know about skin cancer. Oh, Bob, that other song didn't work out, so I have written this one for you just now.
All right.
I mean,
Aaron, how do you tour and perform at Second City full time? How does He pulled it out, folks. By God, he did it.
I thought I was going to get like an MP, whatever those things are called, like a audio file in like 3 weeks.
Sure.
Not right now.
Sure.
That was amazing.
I mean, if you guys have any notes or anything, just send them my way. And
I got a few. We'll talk.
Mate, yeah, I have a note. I need another
incredible. That was amazing. I just wanted to do this real quick. We do have some comments to get to. For the second time, and maybe she's tuned in, maybe she's not, but thank you, Katie Tupin, once again, coming through with just an unbelievable guest. E.T., you remember Katie? She's been on Letterman a couple times. I like bringing that up. But she connected us with Aaron. So big shout out to Katie. If you're in Louisville, please go to her show coming up at the beginning of October. You can go to Katie Tupin's Instagram. You can see all about it. You can see Katie live and in person, a socially distanced show in Louisville. I believe there's a second date as well. Maybe Lexington, maybe a second place in Louisville. But thank you, Katie, very much. E.T., do you want to hear from the people before we wrap things up? We got a few comments.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, so our friend Zuzu earlier said they felt that Aaron was subtly trying to tell E.T. to just give up on all your dreams. Is that true?
No.
Okay. Charlie says, F it, tell Aaron to drop some acid and write us a new song. He kind of just did.
Yeah.
Let's see. We have some submissions for the Jack Daniels giveaway. As a teenager, Tracy learned Little Smoke on the Water. That's a popular one. Yeah.
It's in my rotation. Who said that? Give up my dreams. Who said that?
Someone named Zuzu.
Listen, Zuzu. In like 5 years, when I have like 9 songs that I'm comfortable playing, and I'm at open mic night in Van Nuys, California,
Bakersfield.
You're gonna eat your words. You're probably more like Bakersfield. You're right.
Yeah. Come on. Another one. Associate producer Michael Cook checking in from Pennsylvania, asking if Guitar Hero counts for our submissions. I think it does.
Oh.
Look, that you're talking about a guy who broke my big wheel in nursery school.
Okay, then he's
with his bare
disqualified.
hands.
Wow.
So he doesn't win anything ever. He literally broke my big wheel and lied about it.
Aaron, your thoughts?
I mean, yeah, any sort of mishandling of a big wheel really that's immediately discounts you in my book.
I mean, I feel like that's like using a voice enhancer. You know what I mean? What's that called?
Auto-tune.
Oh, auto-tune.
Aaron's a big auto-tune guy.
Yeah,
I auto-tune every press photo. It's something I've always done and always will.
Facetune. That's Facetune.
Yeah, that's Facetune. That's okay. We all do that.
Nice work, Aaron. This is so meta. Shout out to Ron. Mao says, let's check. Oh, you know what? I love these guys. If you play guitar, subscribe to the JHS show on YouTube. Trust me, says Mao. Shout out to Mao. A few others before we get to another song. Adrian wants you to teach guitar in Nashville. Would you do that? E.T.
Yeah.
This is for E.T.
Oh, my bad.
Would I teach guitar in Nashville, or she teaches guitar in Nashville?
I'm just messing with you. Yeah, Aaron, would you teach guitar in Nashville?
Would I teach E.T. guitar in Nashville?
Great. Yes, this is
sure,
where we're headed.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Before you commit to this, remember, I work for Jack Daniels. I'm in normal times. I'm in Nashville like 10 times a year. So before you commit to saying yes to teaching me guitar, I will call you.
Right.
Hey, man.
I'll be texting you like, hey, yeah, man, just let me know when you're here. Ding dong. Oh, I'm here.
Tell the cats to get out of my bed.
Get my number from Chris. I'm always on the road.
Perfect. Mary Ellen. Mary Ellen, here, I got one for you, E.T. Figured out by ear the piano line on New Year's Day by U2 on the piano. It's not a complicated one. I love those licks that like everybody knows. I feel like this is a shout out to my buddy Mike. He learned the intro on acoustic guitar to Beverly Hills Cop, the theme song. So I want to say 97% of house parties when we were 19, we heard that opening lick. So,
So good.
right? Okay.
So good.
Aaron supports Big Mike. E.T., we're going to remind people one more time, you're giving away a set of AirPods. They're Jack Daniels branded. They've been passed down through generations, and you can win them by telling us you're entered to win if you just tell us the first song you ever tried to learn to play. And if you hit share, you're entered to win the badass Aaron Lee Tasjan t-shirt, which I'm a huge fan of, and you all will be too. Aaron, I apologize, but you're going to have to come back on now. And we're going to have to do like a 4-hour podcast because you're super fun and an interesting dude. You're contractually obligated to play one more song as we signed off in blood before you came in here. What do you got cooking, man? You feel like another one, despite giving us that impromptu gem earlier?
Yeah, I'll give you I'll do a song for you called Little Movies. And
Nice.
I dedicate this song to Peter Frampton often, and so I'm going to dedicate it to him again tonight. And the reason that I dedicate the song to Peter Frampton is he and I once got in a huge fight on Twitter because I was opening for Social Distortion. And I said during the Social Distortion gig, I was telling one of my stories, and I said, you know, man, it's kind of cool, like how Frampton wrote "Ooh, Baby, I Love Your Ways" and "Show Me the Way" in the same day, you know, because I was going to mention how I'd taken the acid and written all those songs in the same day or whatever. But then like this guy, this like just, you know, older Social Distortion fan dude was like, he was really upset. And then like the next day on Twitter, he was like really coming after me and saying that it was so unpunk to mention Peter Frampton at a Social Distortion gig and all this
Who's
stuff.
this dork?
Some dude. I don't know.
Somebody who hates himself. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not sure. You know, he's probably like, I think he wore a Metallica t-shirt. And if there's one thing I know about that, it's that behind every Metallica t-shirt is a mean stepdad. So I feel like he you know, he definitely was projecting that maybe onto me and just getting really upset. And I honestly, man, I thought like of all the things that you could do that somebody might consider punk rock, actually mentioning Peter Frampton at a Social Distortion gig seemed like that fit the bill to me, you know, like I was ready for it. So I kind of went back and forth with him for a little while. And I eventually said sarcastically, like, man, I'm really sorry that like I brought up Peter Frampton at this gig. Like what a drag that must've been for you. And somehow Frampton saw that tweet where I said it was a drag, like to talk about him or whatever.
And you didn't use the sarcasm font.
Correct. Mm-hmm. And he blocked me on Twitter.
Oh, no.
And then retweeted my tweet as a quote and was like, you know, basically all of his fans like tweeting at me and being like, you'll never have a career. You're like, if Frampton doesn't like you, you must really be a loser, you know, like all this kind of stuff.
Man.
But eventually somebody like intervened and like told Frampton, like, actually, if you go back and read the whole thread, like you'll see that this kid's like actually a big fan of yours.
Right.
And Frampton wrote me a message and apologized, and then like unblocked me, which was great because I could see all his cool tweets, that he does. Yeah. Like I haven't seen one in a while, but I assume it's probably something like wah, 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 or something like that. Yeah. That's all you need to tweet if you're Frampton. You know what I mean? Like, period, Yeah. But anyway, so, we kind of became like buddies a little bit. And I don't know. I thought like in a day and time where like people, and particularly, and sorry everybody, but like I'm just telling it how it is, like make mistakes on the internet all the time that they don't apologize for. The fact that this dude was like so cool about having made a mistake and like and genuinely like apologetic about it, like I just thought that it takes a really big person to do that, especially to like literally like who the hell knows who why would it even matter for him to apologize to me? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I just thought it was cool. And so, Peter isn't going to be touring anymore. And I just think he's a really great musician, and he gave us a lot of great music. I mean, Humble Pie, man, you know, aside from his solo stuff, he was in Humble Pie, you know, with Steve Marriott.
Yes.
It doesn't get more rock and roll than that. So this song is for Peter Frampton and for all you guys. And thanks so much for having me on. It's been a blast, man. I really appreciate it.
Incredible. Aaron Lee Tasjan telling the Frampton Comes Online story. Take it away, buddy.
Frampton 2019. Watch the day unfold in little movies with silver tears that sparkle from my eyes. I catch myself and turn to toughen up, but it hurts too much to try. Watching my reflection in the window, in the afternoon gold beaming sun. One more scene fades out in black and white, still another has begun. But you don't know, I have seen the ending, but still I cannot look away. Don't you know, all of this pretending is just a little movie that we play. You could play a tune for all your troubles, and I would help remind you of the words. Angels born in hell will sing our praises like this broken song deserves. But you don't know, I have seen the ending, but still I cannot look away. Don't you know, all of this pretending is just a little movie that we play. Sunday sun, please take me down. I wanna hear that lonesome sound. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, yeah. But you don't know, I have seen the ending, but still I cannot look away. Don't you know, all of this pretending is just a little movie that we play. It's just a little movie that we play. Oh,
Incredible. Unbelievable. The guy can hold a conversation. He can hold our hearts. What a show. Aaron Lee Tasjan. This was a Katie Tupin special. Came down the pipe late. We were talking about having Aaron on for I can't say what we were potentially thinking about Aaron for in the future. Maybe we'll have an announcement at the end of this season. Either way, incredible show. And E.T., my friend, I know you were excited. Did it pay off?
Yeah, man. So good. So good. The, you know, what's cool too. It's, you know, having, you know, listened to Forever 2 days ago, a lot of your music is so diverse. Like, it doesn't sound like, you know, some bands get away with just, they do one thing and that's cool. And then some people do a lot of different, they mess around in genres, even in their own style. And I feel like
Totally.
you do that, and it makes it fun to listen to you, because it's not, oh yeah, it's that same song with a little bit of a different speed and different words. Like, everything is like, I hope you take this the right way, but I can't remember the name of the song, but I was listening to it this morning, and it was very, very Traveling Wilburys-esque. And
cool.
you know, I was like, and then this song is completely different from that. So like, it's fun for me to listen to people that really own their shit and are good enough to kind of have little moments in all these songs where it's original and unique. And it's hard to do. I mean, how many different people can be out there doing unique shit, and you're one of them. So awesome.
Oh, thank you, buddy. That means a lot, ET. That's very kind of you, man. Thank you.
Well said. Guys, I can't say it enough. Hit share, win the t-shirt. We're going to pick a random winner. And if you tell us in the comments the first ever band or song you tried to emulate or play on literally anything, we're going to consider you for the AirPods we pick randomly each and every week. ET not only has the coolest background in the business, he also is the most prompt prize mailer in the business, which I find to be quite important. You tell somebody they're getting a bumper sticker, give them the freaking bumper sticker. So we don't just give away bumper stickers on here. So very thankful to have ET on. Again, follow him at Superhype LLC on Instagram. Lee Tasjan, if you weren't charmed tonight, I don't know what else you guys want. This is amazing. What a great time. Follow Aaron on Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Shout out to your manager, too. I like managers that back their people up, man. Aaron, what a great time. Thank you so much for coming on, man.
Thanks for having me, brother. Rock on, Chris. Rock on, ET.
Take care,
too,
everybody.
Thank
We're
you.
back next week. We got Carolina's story. Thank you guys so much for jumping on. We'll be back.